Hello, and welcome to the 31st Annual King County Legislative Forum for Developmental Disabilities. Leading tonight's land acknowledgement is Catherine Festa of the Haida Tribe.
How This is hello and thank you in Haida. I am the granddaughter of Elizabeth Collison. I am the daughter of Marina Jones. I am Catherine Festa. I am Haida. I am a raven from the Double Fin Killer Whale clan. November is Native American Awareness Month, and this month is a time to celebrate our rich and diverse cultures, traditions, and histories known to us, to acknowledge the sacrifices and the important contributions of the Native people. A land acknowledgement is a simple, powerful way of showing respect and a step toward correcting the stories and practices that erase Indigenous people's history and the culture, toward inviting and honoring the truth. I would like to begin by acknowledging that this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Puget Sound Salish, Suquamish, Snoqualmie, Snohomish, Tulalip, Skokomish, Quinault, Puyallup, Duwamish, and Muckleshoot. In the past and present, we honor with gratitude the land itself and the First Peoples across the country. How
Thank you, Catherine. What a powerful way to start our night. I'm Megan Cromar, and I'm the King County Developmental Disabilities and Early Childhood Supports Division Director. I also come tonight as a parent. I, like many of you, am the parent of a young adult and teen with developmental disabilities.
I am Holly Wu, and I am the King County Developmental Disabilities and Early Childhood Supports Division Deputy Director. Meg and I will be co-emceeing tonight's event. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce you to King County Executive Dow Constantine.
Good evening. Good evening. For over 30 years, parents and advocates come to this annual event to share their stories with their legislators. And every year, our state legislators come to meet and listen to their constituents. This year, of course, we've had to make some dramatic changes to our format. Our region, our state, our nation, and indeed the world is grappling with a long and difficult global health crisis. Social distancing, wearing our masks inside and outside, restricting access to dining, music, and other entertainment. Many of us have friends and loved ones who have become sick with this terrible virus. I know it's hard to keep on this course, especially with the holidays so close. Like many of you, I will miss our usual noisy family gathering this Thanksgiving. But please stick with it. We must draw down the rates of infection, and we must do it now. Lives depend on it. Together, we will get through this pandemic. I want to thank you for helping to keep our communities safe, and thank you for being here virtually tonight. More than ever, we must continue our shared commitment to people with developmental disabilities and their families, to give all infants and toddlers their very best start in life, to help children with disabilities grow and thrive, and take their place as healthy and contributing members of their communities, to support youth and adults to gain employment at minimum wage or better, creating opportunities for independence and inclusion, and work to ensure that everyone in King County has a safe and affordable place to live, because we know that housing is the foundation for health. The legislative priorities you'll hear tonight support these goals, and they support King County's commitment to our residents. What I like to call our true north, that every person is welcome and all should have the opportunity to thrive. One of the ways King County is working to ensure that true north for every child is through our investments from the Best Starts for Kids initiative. That funding, fully 50% of the total, is dedicated to our county's youngest residents. We believe strongly in the power of early action to help infants and toddlers with developmental delay. We know that reaching a child in the first years of brain development can make a lifetime of difference. Early identification makes it possible to offer effective and less expensive services when children are younger, rather than costly special education services later in childhood. King County is working with our state and local partners to reach and serve children and families in their communities. Over 5,600 King County children, birth to age 3 with delays or disabilities, accessed early support for infants and toddlers services in 2019. Responding to the challenges of COVID, King County's early support program moved quickly to launch virtual services to reach our local families. We did this by funding family access to tablets and Wi-Fi, implementing 3-way video language interpretation, training providers to deliver effective virtual services, and developing outreach materials in 22 languages. Giving infants and toddlers their very best start in life is a goal we can all share. I should also mention here that our voter-approved Best Starts for Kids initiative expires next year. I've already announced my intent to ask King County voters to renew that levy so that we can continue critical programs to help children and their families thrive. You'll hear from people in our supported employment program tonight. The ability to contribute to society through employment is essential to self-worth, to self-sufficiency, and to inclusion. Even with the challenges of COVID-19, we continue to achieve extraordinary success in promoting employment opportunities for people with developmental disabilities. I want to especially thank those who are employed as essential workers in local businesses during the pandemic. Legislators, your strong support for employment services makes our success in King County your accomplishment as well. Finally, I want to take the opportunity to thank the legislature for giving King County the funding option to help address our regional homelessness crisis. Every person deserves the safety and dignity of a place to call home. In my budget speech in September, I proposed an additional 1/10 cent sales tax, a tool provided by the legislature dedicated to creating emergency housing in King County. And I am pleased to report the County Council just last week passed my budget with that proposal intact, and we can begin to move forward with this new approach. The economic downturn brought on by COVID has been especially hard on the hospitality industry. But that reality creates an extraordinary moment in time opportunity for us to purchase hotels and motels at lower than usual prices. Our goal is housing we don't have to wait years to build. Housing that is move-in ready for people living on the streets now. Targeted to those with the greatest needs and living at the lowest end of the income scale. And housing we know the private market is never going to develop. Just as important, this will be housing that includes 24/7 on-site services to help people experiencing chronic homelessness due to untreated behavioral health problems, developmental disability, systemic or generational racism. We will need a bit of help from our legislators in the next session to move the Health Through Housing plan over the finish line. But with your support, we will move at least 1,500 people who are chronically homeless into the security of a new home, making an extraordinary difference in their lives and in the livability of our communities. Thank you all for your efforts to ensure that all children and all families have the opportunity to achieve their highest potential. I look forward to working with you in the months and years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Constantine. We so appreciate that you take the time to join us each year. 2020 has been an unprecedented year for all of us. We've experienced a historically bad economy, a once-in-a-century pandemic, systemic racism and oppression, fire and smoke, home caretaking, and lots of schooling, political instability, social isolation, and that's just the society-level stuff. People are struggling in homes and without homes in every part of our community. We also know that many community-based organizations are struggling just to make payroll and keep serving their clients. Those clients are you. Those clients are our families. Those clients are our neighbors. That's why tonight it's more important than ever to learn from each other and connect around the issues that mean so much to us. We have a lot to share with you. To kick off our program, let's start with some housekeeping and some important introductions. We wish more than anything that we were gathered together in person tonight. This event has always been a place to gather with new and old friends and a chance to share our hopes, worries, personal stories, hugs with legislators and with each other, all to improve the lives of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities in the upcoming year. We were determined to move forward with the forum this year and had to switch our focus to a virtual forum this summer. We appreciate your patience tonight and grace, as this is a brand new venture for us. A few things to note. The chat box for the audience is not accessible to the legislators, but we will make sure that all of your comments are available to them after the forum. The chat box is also monitored, and we have a fun interactive wall that we invite you to participate in. If you use the hashtag KCDDFORUM on Twitter, your comments and pictures will be posted to our social wall. We can't be together in person tonight, but we can share our thoughts and fun pictures of ourselves watching the show. Your kids and your pets and your pajamas are all welcome in those pictures. In addition to being available on the webpage that you, the audience, are currently on, the legislative agenda and background papers will continue to be available on our King County website. That address is KingCounty.gov/DISABLITIES-FORUM. That's kingcounty.gov/disabilities-forum. We'll also post this forum on our webpage for folks that weren't able to join us tonight so they can watch it at a later time. We're interpreting in 6 languages tonight, which include American Sign Language, Arabic, Mandarin, Somali, Spanish, and Vietnamese. Please be patient if we pause or slow down. If you need access to one of the interpreter channels, please click the interpreter link below the media player that was on the webpage in your preferred language. You'll notice that we have closed caption translation available as well, which by default is on, but if you prefer, you can turn that off. I now invite our elected officials who joined us here tonight to introduce themselves by district. Let's get started with our legislative districts. Let's start with District 1. Shelley, are you with us tonight and able to unmute? Let's move to District 5.
Hello, I'm Lisa Callan. I represent the 5th Legislative District, and I'm in House Position number 2. And I serve on the Education Committee, the Human Services Early Learning Committee, and the Capital Committee. And it's an honor and pleasure to be here with you all tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Representative Bill Ramos from the 5th District, seatmate with Lisa Callan, who just introduced herself. Honor and pleasure to be here tonight. Love being here as we normally would be, and Zoom the best as we can now. I'm just happy to be here and look forward to our evening. Thank you.
Let's go to District 8.
I think you may have me under District 8. I actually represent Congresswoman Kim Schreier, so one of the congressional districts here in Washington State. My name is Louise O'Rourke. I'm our district director. We cover the communities Issaquah-Sammamish in East King County, and then down in Southeast King County, Maple Valley, Covington, Enumclaw, Auburn, all the way out to the edge of Federal Way in Kent. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go to District 11.
Steve, are you going? I guess I'll go. I'm Bob Hasagawa, Senator for the 11th District, which is South Central King County, a little bit of South Seattle. And normally I get to use this chance to greet everybody and welcome you all to the 11th District, since it's usually held at Doubletree at South Center. So unfortunately, we don't get to fellowship together this year, but the opportunity anyway, and do miss the cookies, I tell you.
Thank you, Senator. State Representative Steve Bergquist, also serve in the 11th District in the House. I serve on the Education Committee, the College and Workforce Development Committee, and Vice Chair of the Appropriations Committee, and I'm a teacher in the Renton School District.
Thank you. Let's move to District 30.
Good evening, everyone. This is Representative Jesse Johnson, and just an honor to be here with you all. I represent the 30th District, which includes Federal Way, Milton, Pacific, Algona, and parts of Des Moines, Auburn, and unincorporated King County. It's just an honor to be here this evening. I serve on the Consumer Protection and Business Committee, as well as the Housing and Human Services Committee, and look forward to the conversation.
I'm happy to jump in next. My name's Mike Pellicciati. I'm position 1 of the 30th Legislative District for about another month or two, and I'm really excited about the person who's going to be replacing me, Representative-elect Jamila Taylor.
Thank you, Mike, for setting a high standard. I'm Jamila Taylor, Representative-elect out of the 30th District. I'm excited to be seatmate to Jesse Johnson and hopefully run down the hall to say hi to our new state treasurer, Mike Pellicciati. This is very personal to me. My twin brother has developmental disabilities, and so he is my absolute favorite voter in the 30th District, and he has voted in every election since we became 18. So I'm thankful that you all invited me today, and I'm excited to learn more about the policies set forth by King County. And Claire, you're up next.
Hey, I'm Senator Claire Wilson, and I am excited to be sitting with both Rep. Johnson and Rep-elect Taylor. I vice chair early learning K-12. I sit on human services, reentry and rehabilitation, and I also am on transportation. This is my absolute favorite event, and it was the first one I went to right after I got elected, and thanks for having me here tonight.
Thank you. Let's move to District 32.
Hi, everyone. I'm State Representative Cindy Ryu in the 32nd LD, which goes from north of Seattle shoreline all the way into Linwood. I chair the Housing, Community Development, and Veterans Committee, and I also sit on Consumer Protection and Business Committee, as well as Appropriations Committee.
Do we have Cindy or Jesse with us from District 32?
You mean Lauren? I don't see her on the list.
Okay, let's move on to District 33.
Hi, I'm Tina Orwell. I have the honor of representing the 33rd Legislative District in South King County. I'm glad we're connecting tonight. I do miss all the chatting and the hugs and the pictures, and I hope we're able to do those soon. But again, honored to be here. Thank you.
Let's go to District 34.
Hi, I'm Representative Eileen Cody from the 34th District. We represent West Seattle, Vashon, Burien, and White Center. And I chair the House Health and Wellness Committee.
I'm Joe Fitzgibbon. I'm the other state representative from the 34th. How's it going? I'm Joe Nguyen, the state senator from the 34th Legislative District. It's easy because we have a couple of Joes. So if all else fails, just say Joe and you'll be good to go. But the DD community is near and dear to my heart. I so appreciate the work that you do. I love the weekly swag that we get during session as well. So I'm curious to see if we get to get those next year to remind us of all the great things that we do to support the community. So thank you so much for having us here today.
Thank you. Let's move to District 36.
Hi, I will go. I thought I was waiting till the end, but I'm happy to. This is State Representative Noelle Frame and my 4-month-old son, Holden. I serve as the Vice Chair of the Human Services and Early Learning Committee and a member of the Housing, Community Development and Veterans Committee, as well as the House Finance Committee and Rules. It has been my great privilege to work with the self-advocate community, in particular on ending sub-minimum wage and partnering with Representative Cody on the Healthcare for Workers with Disabilities program and eliminating that cap. This is indeed one of my favorite events of the year, and so glad we could translate it to online. Thanks so much.
Thank you for being here, and we welcome babies. Let's move to District 37. Let's go to District 41.
Well, I can go. I was waiting for my newly elected seatmate to go first since her name appears first. But my name is Sharon Tomiko Santos. I will follow in the tradition established by our friend, Catherine Festa, by saying I am the daughter of Joyce Kyoko Miyake, who was a special education teacher in the Seattle Public Schools and ended her career with the Seattle Public Schools. I currently serve as the chair of the House Education Committee. I also serve on the Consumer Protection and Business Committee, as well as the House Capital Budget Committee. Thank you.
Okay, now let's go to District 41. Thank you for being with us.
Hi, it's my pleasure. I'm Representative Tana Sen, and it's great to be here as always. I chair the Human Services and Early Learning Committee, and the 41st District represents North Renton, Newcastle, Mercer Island, Bellevue, Issaquah, Sammamish, and Beaux Arts Village. And I know this is usually where I see so many people from my district, so I miss you all. And also just wanted to mention that I've passed legislation that came up from ideas that were brought up from you all in this very forum. So I always look forward to this session.
Hi, I'm Alexa Masaki, Legislative Assistant to Representative Tai. Regretfully, she couldn't be here tonight. However, it's an honor to be here in her stead.
Good evening. I'm Senator Lisa Wellman. I chair the Early Learning K-12 Education Committee in the Senate. I also sit on Labor and Commerce and Energy, Environment, and Technology. I miss the hugs and the smiles, but most of all, I miss seeing your faces. I know you can see ours this evening, but it's always the joy of seeing the families in the audience and all those various faces from around our area. And the smiles and the hearing the stories in person. So hopefully next year we'll be together.
I do hope we're together next year. Let's go to District 43.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Macri. I'm the state representative from the 43rd Legislative District in Seattle, and it is a great honor to be here. I, too, am sad that I cannot see you all. This is one of the events I most look forward to every year. I'm very grateful to all the self-advocates and all the families and advocates on behalf of people living with disabilities. I serve on the Healthcare Committee as well as the Finance and Appropriations Committees.
Hi, everyone. This is Daniel Lugo from Representative Frank Chop's office. It's a pleasure to be here representing the office, and we're just excited to learn and figure out how we can be a best partner.
Let's go to District 45.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Roger Goodman from the 45th District, which includes Redmond, Kirkland, Sammamish, Woodinville, and Duval. And I do wish that we could all be in the same physical space tonight. I guess it was the ice storm several years ago that prevented us from getting together last time, but this is my 14th IDD forum, and it always is very compelling and instructive for me to hear about the issues that are important to your community. And so thank you for putting the event on. I look forward to getting together in the same place next year.
All right, let's move to District 46.
Can we go back to Senator Peterson in 43? We skipped him.
Sure. Let's move on to District 46, and if we're able to help Senator Peterson unmute, we'll come back to we'll come back.
This is Representative Jerry Paulette from the 46th. Sorry that we're not going to be in person with all our friends, and thank you very much for all of you who have individually invited the 46th delegation to join us once again. Have a very safe holiday season.
Good evening, everyone. Javier Valdez, the other representative from the 46th Legislative District. I serve on the House Education Committee, Civil Rights and Judiciary Committee, and I'm one of the vice chairs of our Transportation Committee. And thank you for the invitation to be here tonight.
Hey everyone, my name is David Frocht. I'm the state senator from the 46th, serving with Representative Valdez and Paulette. I apologize, that's my dog barking in the background if you can hear it, but really happy to be here. This is always a very meaningful event, and look forward to continuing to work with this community in my roles on the Senate Ways and Means Committee and the Senate Healthcare Committee. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's move to District 47.
Hello, my name is Deborah Intonman. I am a representative in the 47th Legislative District, which includes the cities of Kent, East Hill, Covington, and Auburn. I am the vice chair on the Higher Ed Committee. I'm a member of the Transportation Committee and the Innovation, Technology, and Economic Development Committee. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Senator Mona Das from the 47th as well. So lovely to see everyone. Really do miss this event in person. As Senator Wilson mentioned, it was our very first event after we got elected, so it has a very special place in my heart. Look forward to seeing everyone in person next time. I'm on the Transportation Committee, the Environment and Technology Committee, as well as Finance and the Housing Committee. Thanks so much.
All right, let's move to District 48.
Hi, everyone. State Senator Patty Cooter from the 48th here. That's parts of Bellevue, Redmond, Kirkland, Yarrow Point, Hunts Point, Medina, and Clyde Hill. I chair the Housing Stability and Affordability Committee, and I do wish, like the other colleagues here tonight, that we were in person and we'd get to hear from you directly. But this is a very wonderful conference, and I always find the story so compelling and so inspiring and so helpful to guiding us in policy to help those with developmental disabilities. So thank you very much for having us.
Hi, everyone. This is Vandana Slatter, also with the 48th District. Very pleased to be here. And I am vice chair on the Transportation Committee. I also sit on College and Workforce Development and on the Innovation, Technology, and Economic Development Committee. I really look forward to hearing your stories and to hearing what's important to you. Thank you so much for inviting me and for having a virtual event. I know it's a difficult time, but it's really important that we stay connected. I truly appreciate the opportunity to listen to you. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to our King County Council districts. Let's start with King County Council District 2.
Hi, everyone. This is King County Council Member Girmay Zahalai, representing King County District 2, which goes from the top of the University of Washington through Capitol Hill, the Central District, South Seattle, and Skyway. It's an honor to be here, and I look forward to advancing justice with everyone on this call. Thank you so much for allowing me here.
Thank you. District 5.
Oh, thanks, Megan. My name is Dave Up the Grove, King County Council Member from District 5 in suburban South King County. It overlaps with much of legislative districts 33, 47, and 11, and a little bit of 34, 37, and 30. And I have learned so much over the years from the families I've met at these forums and have made some real lasting friendships. And so I look forward tonight to listening and learning.
Thank you. District 6.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Claudia Balducci. I represent District 6 in King County, and I'm the chair of the King County Council. District 6 covers a lot of the suburban east side, including parts of Bellevue, Kirkland, Redmond, all of Mercer Island, some of Woodinville, Bothell, and the Points communities. And if you see the background in my kitchen office here, you will have seen our teenage son wandering around, and your advocacy has resulted in policies that support him and my family and so many people with developmental disabilities. And I thank you so much for your engagement. I look forward to being with you this way tonight.
Thank you. District 7. Let's go to District 8.
Hi, I'm King County Council Member Joe McDermott, coming to you live from my basement office in West Seattle. And the district stretches from downtown Seattle, First Hill, to Vashon, Maury Island, and parts of Burien Sea. I too miss joining with you, but I'm glad that we're all home because that means we're staying safe.
Thank you so much. And now our state elected officials. Let's begin with U.S. representatives.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hello, good evening.
Good evening, we can hear you.
Oh, great. Sorry about that. I couldn't see myself on the store screen. My name is McKenna Lux. I am here on behalf of Congresswoman Jayapal's office, representing Washington's 7th Congressional District. It's an honor to be here with you all tonight, and I'm looking forward to your engagement and conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. And now our U.S. senators.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Utume. I am here on behalf of Senator Patty Murray. Thank you so much for the invitation and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. I know that some folks had trouble unmuting. If we missed you during the original call through your district, please feel free to introduce yourself now.
Hi, I'm Representative-elect Kirsten Harris-Talley here in the 37th Legislative District, serving in position 2 starting in January. And I'm so proud to work with our neighbors here in district. We include Renton, Skyway, and Southeast Seattle, and so proud to be at this event. I know how much you all do to help families advocate for themselves, and it means so much. So it's an honor to join you this year, and I look forward to years in the future we'll be together in person again. Thank you for having us.
Hi, I'm Jamie Peterson from the 43rd Legislative District. That is the middle of Seattle. And I'm delighted to be here. I think this is my 14th forum with all of you, but I am also sad both about missing Auntie Anne's pretzels and also about seeing a lot of old friends. Thank you for having us.
Good evening. I'm Mia Gregerson, State Representative from the 33rd Legislative District, and I know my seatmates are here tonight who've already talked about our district, but it's such an honor to be here, and I always learn so much about the needs, and looking forward to supporting you and making sure that your voices are heard remotely in Olympia.
Anyone else? Okay. If you're an elected official and you find yourself in the audience and viewing the program from the webpage, please put your name in that chat box, and we'd love to let everyone know that you're here with us tonight. Deep gratitude to each of you for the time that you're spending with us tonight for this important forum.
So tonight we celebrate our 31st forum. We've seen big strides through the years. King County is a national leader in our early supports for infants and toddlers, school to work, and adult services supported employment programs. But we also wrestle with perennial challenges. Washington is 41st in the nation in spending to support people with developmental disabilities, and we are feeling it in the community. Our families need support, and individuals need a place to live and a meaningful life. This year, speakers will address two priority areas for King County. Our first priority area is to preserve and protect the safety net for individuals with disabilities across their lifespan. Our second priority area is to invest in employment and housing for people with disabilities to support economic recovery. When developing policy, we ask legislators to remember the stories that you will hear tonight, and to use a racial, social, and economic justice approach to eliminate disparities and ensure cultural and language supports are in place to serve King County's diverse population. All families and individuals should be able to access services that are meaningful in the context of their culture and provided in their home language. Please welcome our first speaker, Jason Todd Morris. Jason is a member of our King County Developmental Disabilities Board.
Good afternoon, guests, advocates, family members, legislators, providers, and distinguished officials. My name is Jason Todd Morris. As a first-person self-advocate, a person with developmental disability I was born with, I want to thank you all for being here. People like ourselves have a role to play. My role is to advocate for individuals with intellectual and developmental disability to live a full life in their community where we can learn, work, play alongside each other through all stages of life. And I would like to share my story with you. I live in the 36th Legislative District and King County District 4. I'm a member of the King County Board for Developmental Disability, and my role is to be a voice for King County District 4 on the board. I was the chair of the board's legislative committee, which provides input to the development of the county's 2021 legislative priorities. And I'd like to say a few words of why I joined the board. I was given a chance and an opportunity to contribute to the community. Being on the board helps me to get more involved in community service where where my lived experience makes a difference. I was a client in Alabama and received divisional of vocational rehab DVR services right out of high school. I spent over a decade pursuing a college degree, and there were several accommodations that supported that journey. College was tough. As an example, all my books were on 4-track cassette tapes from the Library of the Blind. I also was a client of Washington State's DVR and have received other state supports that have made a difference in the quality of my life. I know services work when I have them, and when I don't have services, I'm left out, and things do not work out well. When I could not get services, I suffered and my family suffered. A safety net of services has helped me to live independently. And I'm sharing my story as an example of how people with developmental disabilities have different strengths, abilities, learning styles, and how the right supports has helped me to work and be a part of my community. I have a lot to say and happy to connect with anyone who'd like to know more about my story. Thank you for being here and looking forward to getting to know you.
Thank you for being here, Jason, and for sharing your story. Jason shared what we know to be true for so many in our community. The right level of supports are needed to support employment and true inclusion in the community. Jason also shared the importance of having a safety net of services.
King County's first priority is to preserve and protect the safety net for individuals with disabilities across their lifespan. We asked the legislature to do this through 2 recommended actions. The first action is to maintain current eligibility criteria for State Developmental Disabilities Administration paid services to ensure people with intellectual and developmental disabilities continue to access Medicaid state plan and waiver services, including employment, community inclusion, respite, personal care, and residential services. The second action is to maintain interpreter services provided by the State Healthcare Authority, including video interpretation services to ensure effective delivery of essential services. Tonight, you will hear personal stories from several individuals, families, and providers. Many rely on paid services provided through the State Developmental Disabilities Administration, also known as DDA, and we'll talk about how these services have made a difference in their life. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic's economic impact and state-required reductions, DDA has proposed changes to eligibility criteria to reduce the number of individuals receiving DDA paid services statewide. If the eligibility requirements are changed, then approximately 2,200 people in King County and 8,100 people statewide may lose vital services to maintain their basic health, safety, and quality of life, including housing, which could lead to homelessness. There may also be increased use of emergency services and hospitalizations. An estimated 800 people in King County and 2,900 people statewide would be at risk of losing employment and community inclusion services. And over 1,000 people statewide could lose supported living services, which helps people with intellectual and developmental disabilities live as independently as possible by providing the right level of care in their own home. Many individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities who get DDA services also get services through the State Aging Long-Term Services Administration, or ALTSA. The state agency has also proposed cuts to reduce the number of individuals receiving services statewide, including 300 individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities living in adult family homes. As shared earlier, when compared to other states, Washington ranks 41st in spending for services for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The changes could decrease these individuals' ability to achieve full, integrated, and productive participation in community life. Destabilizing DDA's already underfunded system through eligibility changes could present more challenges for future recovery of the support system for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We ask that the legislature maintain current eligibility criteria for state DDA services to ensure continued access to programs and supports that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities need to maintain employment, housing, and health.
Thank you, Holly. Interpreter services provided through the Healthcare Authority are vital to so many in our community. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic's economic impact and state-required reductions, the Healthcare Authority has proposed elimination of interpreter services. These services are critical for Medicaid-eligible, linguistically diverse populations to equitably access essential services, which include our state-funded Early Support for Infants and Toddlers, or ESIT program, that serves very young children ages birth to 3 with developmental delays and disabilities. In March 2020, ESIT shifted to fully virtual services in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, and all interpretation also shifted to remote options, including video and phone interpretation. During the COVID-19 state of emergency, the Healthcare Authority has temporarily allowed for video interpretation. To ensure effective communication, the interpreter needs to both see the child and their interactions in order to understand what the caregiver and the ESIT provider are talking about. ESIT providers and families have relied heavily on video interpretation for providing services. Video interpretation is a critical service for families receiving ESIT services whose home language is other than English, and this need will continue beyond the pandemic, as families will continue to prioritize the health of their children and reduce any unnecessary exposures. We'll now hear from Mahato, a youth counselor, about interpreter support services from the provider's perspective. After this video, we'll also get to hear from Lily from District 48 about the interpreter services she receives to support her participation in her ESIT therapy visits for her daughter, Yu-Chin.
Hello, my name is Mahato. I live in 33 Legislative District. I work as the youth program lead at a community organization serving culturally linguistic diverse individuals with intellectual disabilities and developmental disability. The people we serve are often immigrants, refugee, low income, and or people of color. In my position, I connect young adults and their family to long-term care services such as Developmental Disability Administration and home community services. In order to communicate their needs and navigate this complex system, families must have access to interpreters and translations in their native language. Many of the families who comes to our agencies, they normally don't understand the developmental disability services because they do not get the documents in their language, or they don't get an qualified interpreters explaining the services in the correct way. So majority of our families don't utilize the full potential of the program. And that's why it's very important language access help our families connect to the developmental disability and bridge the communication gap. And most of our young adults and adult clients utilize their developmental disabilities waivers to further their educations, get advanced training, receive employment opportunities, and build independent skills. In addition, long-term care services help the family receive respite care hours. That allows parents and caregivers to take breaks while their loved ones are being cared for by qualified caregivers. This is very important for those services such as language access and long-term care to continue supporting our vulnerable populations. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your child, about Yu-Chin and your family.
所以你能不能简单的介绍一下你家里的情况，还有那个小宝宝的状况？
就是小宝宝的情况，就是刚开始是这样的情况。
Okay.
请先翻译吧。
Yeah, so when the baby was born and on the ninth day, they realized that there's the separation between the intestine and bowel. There's some problem in that area. Then since then, he had like 3 major surgeries try to solve the problem. So in the first 8 months, it has slowed down the development of Yuchen. Okay, 要开始录影了。
Tell me about participating in these services through video.
所以你可不可以讲一讲说，就是经过我们这样子的meeting 的方式，你是如何去能够参与的？
因为上课的时候，我觉得老师们都特别有耐心，而且对于教小朋友的一些动作啊，一些跟他们的交流方式都有比较好的，就是说是能够跟我们表达，然后可以让我们知道一些怎么样可以跟小孩交流或者教他的一个方式。我觉得视频的情况也挺好的，因为现在的疫情嘛，也不能出门，大家也不能见面，但是我觉得现在视频的方式是最好的方式。
Right. And then she really appreciate the way that we can, through the Zoom meeting, that be able to continue teaching. Those teachers are very, very patient, and then they do know how to teach Yuchen to continue improving. So she really appreciate that.
And you know, being in person is always the best, but if we can't, having an interpreter has been super important and very valuable. Lily is able to really, I mean, she's fabulous, but if we didn't have interpretation, we couldn't really get as far as we've gone, because Lily she can be my hands and she can do it, but we do need the interpretation. It's been really actually great.
说更能够明白老师的意思，然后也不会错过任何一个信息，这样子。
So Lily feels that through the interpretation that she can fully understand the meaning of the instruction and what's the goal for the practice, exercising, things like that.
That's great. Thank you. Like, have there been challenges with using an interpreter with services?
Yeah, 所以说你有觉得说是透过这个翻译的话，有没有什么就是需要你特别努力的地方？
就现在就挺好的，就没有什么说需要特别怎么样的一个地方。
So she's feeling that everything is pretty smooth. So she can't think of anything that would probably need more effort to do it.
We've been lucky, usually mostly through tele-intervention or early support for infants over Zoom or whatever. Usually it's the technology. Sometimes when there's glitches or the reception is slow or choppy, that usually impacts the speed at which we can move through a session. But we've been lucky that it's been working very well. And I just want to say that this would be impossible for us, Lily and I, without the interpreter. She knows a lot of English, but again, those details, the defining terms and clarifying and answering her questions, it couldn't be done without an interpreter. And so we want to thank funding sources for supporting infants and toddlers. It's been invaluable.
You're on mute.
Thank you. Yuchin means sun. And I want to say that Lily and Yuchin brought much needed sunshine to my day today. Mahado echoes the sentiments that were also raised by Lily and Yuchin's ESIP provider, Elda. In order to communicate needs and navigate these very complex systems, families must have access to interpreters and translations in their native language. We ask that the legislature maintain accessible interpretation services to ensure linguistically diverse infants and toddlers and their families receive high quality, comprehensive developmental services equitably.
King County's second priority is to invest in employment and housing for people with disabilities to support economic recovery. We asked the legislature to do this through two recommended actions. The first action is to protect employment funding and ensure all state DDA eligible students leaving high school in 2021 to 2023 are added to the Basic Plus waiver in order to receive employment and other needed services. The second action is to increase the supply of affordable housing, including housing for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families, through investments that include $250 million for the Housing Trust Fund. Despite their ability, desire, and willingness to work, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities across the nation experience a jobless rate nearly 3 times that of those without disabilities. Employment services help these individuals find and keep competitive jobs in the community that align with their preferences, interests, and strengths. This promotes financial stability and independence, as well as personal well-being that comes from increased social connections and opportunities to engage with and contribute to the community. Providing employment services to students with intellectual and developmental disabilities before they leave school makes all the difference for their future. Students who have paid work experience or leave school with a job are over 4 times more likely to remain employed and be included in community life. Our next speakers will talk about the importance of employment services in their lives. First, we'll hear from Steve. Steve is a recent graduate from the Employment Transition Program in Federal Way. This program is a partner of the School to Work program. After Steve will share her story about employment.
Good evening, legislators, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Steve Bogralhos. I am from the 30th District. Maintaining my employment during this time has been important to me because COVID-19 has not stopped me from making progress towards my career goals. I am a recent graduate of the Employment Transition Program in Federal Way. I work at the school and provide unique learning opportunities for kids ages 3 to 5. I found this position with support from my employment consultant after sharing my desire to work with children. I read stories and tell jokes to the children with my eye gaze that my job coach helps pre-program. When the stay-at-home order began, I was able to continue my work remotely by pre-recording my stories for the kids with ongoing support from my job coach. Not only have I been able to maintain my position, but I have also increased my hours. I know that this has not been the case for many others. Employment services have made a difference in my life by helping to advance my career and maintaining my employment even in uncertain times. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jin Cho and I live in 46th Legislature District. I am 25 years old and live with my mom and dad. I work at Child Care Center for 3 years. I work every day from noon to 4. I watch little kids safe when they eat and sleep, clean their toys, and play with them like a mother. I take 2 buses to go to work. I like my work and I'm happy. I earn money to buy grocery, makeup, and dresses. I like put up makeup and dresses. My job coach helped me to get the job. She helped me when I was interviewed for the job. I was stressed out when I first started to work, and I didn't know what to do. When I'm stressed out, I say something not professional. I almost lost job because of that. I was sad when that happened. I really want to work. My job coach taught me how to be professional. She always be there to teach me and help me. My job coach calls me every week and asks me how am I doing. She is nice. I am happy that she is my job coach.
On mute again.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve and Jean, for sharing about the important role that employment supports play in each of your lives. Many people have experienced layoffs and furloughs. In addition, the global pandemic has isolated us all. We miss the connections that we had at work and in our community. This has been especially hard for the developmental disabilities community and has compounded very long-standing disparities. A lack of focus on disability equity and authentic inclusion. Next, we'll hear from Alex, Cheo, Andrea, Julie, and Justine.
We have all been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. People with intellectual and developmental disabilities have been disproportionately impacted and have experienced major changes in their home lives and their jobs.
My name is Alex Modler. I live in the 47th Legislative District with parents in the 45th Legislative District. I have graduated from college and would like to live up to my fullest potential. 3 years ago, I moved into an adult family home. These are adult foster homes that only provide care in the home. I wanted more of my services to be in the community as opposed to at home. By February of this year, I was getting comfortable with writing access to events and job coaching appointments. In early March, my care provider did not want me to take access places due to the coronavirus. In March, we believed that COVID-19 would be a quick pandemic if most people stayed home. Yet, 8 months later, we are still restricted. The DD community has been hit especially hard. We still cannot go places outside of where our families will be willing to take us. Since there is not enough room for people to be 6 feet apart from one another, adult family home clients can only bring one technical support person into the house. However, if we understand the rules, we can go out in the community with our families. Pre-COVID, we used to be able to have our families over and have a meal that could be shared with them. Humans need physical contact, not just video check-ins. This is critical to restoring confidence in young advocates who have been isolated in the pandemic.
Through his hard work and perseverance, Alex has accepted a new job offer despite the pandemic. Next, we'll hear from Cheo, who has continued working, as well as Andrea, who is not only working, but also volunteering her time to make face masks.
My name's Cheo. Working in a warehouse, and wash bottles and put it away.
And do you like coming to work?
Yep.
What do you like about work?
Come work for keep me busy.
You like to come to work because it keeps you busy?
Yep.
Good. So tell me something about your work.
I work hard.
You work hard. Do you feel that the work that you do is important, Cheo?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to tell us?
That's it.
You're glad that you work though, right?
I'm glad I'll work.
Yeah. All right, Terry.
Good evening, legislators, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrea Earl, and I am from the 47th Legislative District. The support I receive from DDA is very important to me because it helps me to live in my own place in Auburn and be able to get the support I need at my job as an office assistant working in Kent, and for me to be able to do things like cycling, softball, track, and other sports. I have been making masks for the hospital on my own time to help with the virus.
Julie has not been as fortunate. After 29 years with the same employer, she has been laid off due to the pandemic.
Good evening. My name is Julie, and I'm 9th District. My job and my job coach helped me do great things. Let's see. When I graduated from school, I got my job. And I worked for 29 years. June of last year, I lost my job because of COVID-19. And why you remember my story about employment is important to me, and thank you.
Justine's employment has also been impacted by the pandemic.
Good evening, legislators, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Justine Martin. I'm from the 41st District. Having a job, employment support is important to me for several reasons. When I'm working, I can make money to save and to spend on things that I like. I also love working with people and being part of the team. This makes me feel included. Working also gives me the opportunity to share and grow my skills. I love working on the computer, data entry, and learn new tasks. Since COVID-19 began, I was furloughed from one of my jobs and laid off from the other. I have tried to stay busy while furloughed, but I'm sad, bored, and missing my friends and coworkers. With the help of my job coach, I can look for a second job while I wait to go back to work. I am excited to go back to work and be around people. I'm looking forward to getting a paycheck again so that I can save for the things that are important to me.
Employment services are essential in helping people with intellectual and developmental disabilities to find jobs, continue to work, and to continue to help rebuild Washington's economy.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you to Alex, Cheo, Andrea for your continued work, and good luck to Julie and Justine on your job searches. We ask that the legislature protect employment funding and ensure all state DDA eligible students leaving high school in 2021 to 2023 are added to the Basic Plus waiver in order to receive employment and other needed services. Still, investing in employment isn't enough. We must also increase the supply of affordable housing, including housing for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. A growing number of adults with developmental disabilities, including those living with aging parents and families with moderate to very low incomes, are facing a crisis in finding affordable, accessible, and appropriate housing. Affordable and accessible housing is essential to enable people with disabilities to contribute socially and economically to the communities where they live. We'll now hear from Ed about how housing and supportive services have impacted his son Nathan's life.
Good evening, legislators, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eddie Ferrer. I am the son of immigrant parents who migrated to Guam in the early 50s. I served honorably in the US military for over 21 years and retired as a proud US Navy Chief Petty Officer. I am from the 46th District. I am the parent of a 27-year-old son who was born premature. He has intellectual and developmental disabilities and also experiences co-occurring behavioral health issues. I am very concerned about proposed cuts to services to people like my son. The following are issues I consider essential for my son's well-being. They're namely safe, nurturing home, employment opportunities, reasonable accommodations at work, public transportation, freedom from discrimination and ignorance about his potential at work. And these are important to me because I want my son to live a life free from discrimination, harm, and ignorance. My hope is to give my son a chance and opportunities to be a productive member of our society. My son lives in an adult family home that serves individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. This housing option has given my son and us the opportunity to live in a safe environment where guidance and healthy environments are present. We find peace of mind for our family. This home has proven to be much more than a shelter for my son. It is an oasis for families like us who thirst for support, empathy, and understanding. We gather once in a while with other families. We share our stories. A very meaningful gathering that one day perhaps you can join us and hear our voices. My son Nathan also received services from State Developmental Disabilities Administration and State Aging and Long-Term Services Administration that helps him to live independently. Without these services and support, I don't know where my son would go or how he would get the support he needs to live and work in the community. Please remember our stories and the stories from countless families who are faced with challenges. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed, for sharing your story about you and your son, Nathan. As you can see, stable housing for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities includes both a physical structure and supportive services that enable individuals to live as independently as possible, including programs funded by state DDA. These services are tailored to meet the individual's needs, including linguistic support, and the right level of personal care is delivered in the individual's own home. Housing also needs to be accessible and near public transportation. A wide range of affordable housing options, including adult family homes, single-family homes, and apartment units are critically needed. The State Housing Trust Fund is a primary state resource for developing affordable housing in King County. We ask that the legislature invest $250 million in the Housing Trust Fund to help increase the number of affordable homes for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in King County and statewide.
The last 31 years have shown us that when we focus and collaborate, we do great things together. But as you heard here tonight, the work isn't done. Tonight, we ask you to preserve and protect the safety net for individuals with disabilities across their lifespan. Maintain current eligibility criteria for State Developmental Disabilities Administration paid services to ensure that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities continue to access the Medicaid state plan and waiver services, including employment, community inclusion, respite, personal care, and residential services. Maintain interpreter services provided by the State Healthcare Authority, including video interpretation services to ensure effective delivery of essential services. Invest in employment and housing for people with disabilities to support economic recovery. Protect employment funding and ensure all State Developmental Disabilities Administration eligible students leaving high school in 2021-2023 are added to the Basic Plus waiver in order to receive employment and other needed services. increase the supply of affordable housing, including housing for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families, through investments that include $250 million for the Housing Trust Fund. We now invite our elected officials to share. Unfortunately, we've only got about 10 minutes to do that, and we have 45 elected officials with us tonight. Elected officials have signed up to speak, and we'll call on them in the order that they've signed up.
First up, we have Representative Tana Sen.
Hi again, everybody. It has been an amazing honor to chair the Human Services and Early Learning Committee for the past few years, where developmental disabilities have been discussed. And as especially some of our speakers tonight and Dow Constantine mentioned, the intersection between DD and ESIT and early learning and other children's issues is so critical. But what we've also heard tonight is the important intersection with housing issues. And it's something that I've passed legislation on and that clearly needs a continued focus. So as you all get prepared to advocate to the House of Representatives in Washington State this year, I wanted to share that the developmental disabilities portfolio and issues are moving to a new committee. So they'll now be with the Human Services and Housing Committee. So again, while so appropriate to be in the Human Services and Early Learning Committee before, they are now shifting over to be in a Human Services and Housing Committee. So I'm looking forward to continuing to work on these issues, to making sure that we all continue to advocate so strongly for developmental disabilities and their caregivers and communities. But again, know that some of the focus really does need to be on housing issues. And so that intersection is so appropriate. So we don't yet know who the chair of that committee is. So that probably would be your next question. But I did want to share that and let you all know that certainly our committee, and I'm not walking away from these issues, but that is where you'll be able to find a lot of attention for developmental disability issues moving forward. Thanks so much to everybody who's been here tonight and shared their stories.
Thank you. Representative Orwell.
Thank you. Well, I want to start by thanking everyone that shared their story. It's so powerful and what makes this forum so special. And so again, I know it takes a lot of courage to do that, and just thank you so much. I was really pleased to hear all the advocacy on language access. I think that's so critical. I also want to recognize Open Doors and all the agencies that have been working not only on keeping our interpreter services, but how do we strengthen them in the K-12 system? And I know there's some incredible recommendations coming out on that. So again, I want to thank everyone for your advocacy and the work you're doing. It's just so important. Thank you.
Councilman Upthegrove.
Thank you. As folks were talking tonight, I was thinking about how every single parent wants the same thing for their kids, and that's the opportunity for kids to reach their full potential and live the fullest and most meaningful life possible. And we heard how some folks need a little extra support to ensure they have that opportunity. And so I just want to say thank you to my legislative friends and colleagues for providing that support. It's an issue of respect. And I'm very proud of the King County Developmental Disabilities and Early Childhood Supports Division, and wanted to give a shout out to Megan Cromer and Holly Wu for making all of us at the county look good. And wanted to thank Jason and the other members of the King County Board for Developmental Disabilities for volunteering their time and talent. All the presenters were fabulous. I especially appreciated Mahato's thoughtful comments about the importance of translation services and overcoming cultural barriers, and look forward to working with everyone to advance this agenda.
Thank you. Representative Kloba.
Well, thanks so much. This continues to be one of my favorite events of our whole pre-session lead up. And I just really am so grateful that people continually come and open their lives to us so that we can better understand and know the task ahead of us, so that everybody can, again, go back to that living to their highest potential. I just wanted to add in that, I mean, of course, we know that housing affordability is a multifaceted problem with a multitude of answers. And I am working on a bill this session that would give an incentive to landlords of existing affordable housing, so that, and in particular, if it's affordable, it's within multifamily or in a manufactured home community where they rent the space underneath, or in a single family zoning with an attached or detached accessory dwelling unit. And with those types of housing, if the landlord keeps the rent at an affordable rate, then they qualify for a tax exemption on the portion of that property that is affordable. And so I will certainly follow up and look forward to any kind of input that you all will have for me, anything that you can do to help me with this bill, I would really appreciate. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Senator Wilson?
Well, I wanted to just say thank you, but also I heard loud and clear about the need for translation interpretation services for our ESIT programs, especially as we think about what's happening right now with our telesupport and telehealth and telemedicine. And I just wanted to make sure that as well as thinking about the needs for interpretation and translation through K-12, as we think about that for our youngest learners, and also just continued interest in inclusion and also least restrictive environments. And so as individuals move forward, would love to have folks reach out if that's also an area that you'd like to have some conversation about as we move early learning legislation forward. And just want to put that out there because your input is critical.
Thank you. And finally, Representative Cindy Rue.
Yes, thank you so very much. The executive mentioned the authority needed for the county to purchase rather than just build. So I am hoping that I will be introducing that bill, and I'm hoping that my colleagues will support me on that. And then, of course, we will continue to work. We have the support of our colleagues in developing FERCREST, or at least planning to develop FERCREST, including housing eventually, I hope. And I'm still sticking with 400 units of housing on FERCREST in Shoreline. So look forward to your support, continued support. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Megan?
You're muted, Megan.
I have a really fun game that we're going to play next time, and I'll give everyone the instructions. Thank you to the King County Developmental Disabilities Board and to the Legislative Forum Committee. Thanks to the King County Developmental Disabilities and Early Childhood Support staff who have worked tirelessly to prepare for this event tonight. Thanks to our community providers who helped with coordinating speakers and supporting the individuals and families that we jointly serve every day. Interpreters, thank you so much for being with us tonight to make this an accessible event. And last but not least, thanks to our elected officials and to all of you with us tonight. I send you my love, my light, and hopes for resilience in the upcoming year. This concludes our program. We look forward to seeing you all next year.